Okay, I just beaten this game right here, The Evil Within, and if you look at that, I must say, wow, is it worth the moolah? I know I'm late, but I don't give a damn. Let's find out. Now I know this game came out in October. I know I'm late. I know everybody got the review up, but hey, I just want to kind of get my thoughts on the game. And I do got my list. Okay, now let's kick off with number one. The story. The story for this game is very fucking confusing. Very fucking confusing. Um, it's how can I put this? I don't want to take too long on each topic. This is really important. But pretty much, it's really a fucking it fucks with your head. It really does fuck with your head. I mean, because I did not know what was going on in the story for like the past 15 hours. And just, you won't get it until you've pretty much read all the logs you collect in the game. Or if you really pay attention, you really got to pay attention. It will click. When you play the game in New Game Plus, you'll know. I haven't played it yet. I just got done beating it like 30 minutes ago. But the story is about a group of detectives. The main protagonist named Sebastian Castellanos or something like that is called in for a mysterious murder, because you know how cops and detectives, they can call in for a murder if something happens. They're gonna check it out. So he called in for a mysterious murder, only to find hell in some weird hospital called I forgot the name of the hospital. But they've been called in, and pretty much they look inside, and there's all pretty much kinds of crazy shit going on inside of there. Dead bodies all over the place, dead nurses, and just people. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they go and check it out. And then the main character, you walk down the hall, you go in a room, and you look through the camera, and you see this guy with a hoodie on, pretty much, which is the main antagonist. I'll get that later on. Pretty much you go in there, and you see him, and then you turn around, he's like right there. He looks at you in the camera, and then you turn around, he's like right there, and then you pass out. Then you only come out. Yeah, shit. You wake up in the world. You wake up in the world, and you go outside. The fucking building's shaking, collapsing. You go outside, and oh yeah. I forgot to mention that the people who are with you and the detectives. One named Kidman, which is a girl. She actually looks like Helena Harper from Resident Evil 6. Um, and there's another guy, Conley, and about four people. About four of them all together, and pretty much that's all. Pretty much the cast. And then after, like I said, after you go outside, the shit's hitting the fan. The world is ending. The world is actually shifting, like it's a huge earthquake or something. It's actually shifting, and stuff's going on around. But pretty much what I got from the story, I'm gonna try to get this away. What I got from the story was, you really, in the end, I don't want to give it away, but I'm just gonna have to or something. But whatever. You're pretty much not in the real world in the story. After you have gotten knocked out from the beginning of the game, you're actually not in the real world anymore, and pretty much you're now in Ruvik's head, which is the main character. Ruvik, I'll get to him in a second. Like I said, you're now in his world, and you're witnessing his pain. So it seems like once you came to this hospital, you enter in this new dimension, this new like spiritual dark world or some shit. That's why, and I had to think about it, because wait a minute, the evil within, and within is inside or something. So pretty much within is in, and they went in the hospital. So you gotta think, okay, maybe since they went in the hospital, the evil within that hospital and what we're throwing, and also the evil within antagonists. Really. Okay, moving on to gameplay. It's really similar to Resident Evil 4 and Last of Us. Pretty much the guy who made it, named Kojumi Mishima, I believe that's how you say his name. He directed, I forgot that one Japanese game, like Ojami or something. It was really good. I used to love it. I used to like that game. He did Resident Evil 4. That's one of his main big, well-known things. Resident Evil 4. This game is a lot like Resident Evil 4. I know I'm going to be seeing this a lot throughout the video, but it's a lot like Resident Evil 4 because it has that kind of gameplay, but actually I would say it reminds me of Resident Evil 4 in terms of like the theme, I should say, and then it reminds me of Last of Us, where you have limited supplies and you got to make use of it, and you can't miss a shot. If you miss a shot in this game, like, oh fuck. You know, I mean, I had like freaking 4 bullets one time and I missed a shot. Oh, god damn. So it's like, the gameplay is really remind me of Last of Us when you really think about it. And it's really smooth. The gameplay is also very fun. It's very enjoyable when you shoot the fucking guy head off. She splashes everywhere. That's really enjoyable. And then, yeah, the gameplay is pretty cool. I like the gameplay on that part. Alright, next up is atmosphere / graphics / art. The reason I put them up 3 different categories. The graphics first. Atmosphere. If it's one thing this game really gets, it is atmosphere. This game has the most spookiest, scariest atmosphere I have ever seen in any game, except PT. But it's very scary, and the atmosphere makes you want to stop and be like, wait, is there something around the corner, or am I just paranoid? The atmosphere is it's so good. Like the lighting, the graphics, I get that. The atmosphere is really it's really good. But also, another thing about the atmosphere, there were a few times where there are different levels in the game, which made the game more fresh, kept it fresh, but then it kind of lost that tension of horrorness. First you're in the hospital, then you're in some kind of like little village, and then you're like on a bridge, and then you're like in some kind of fucking brick area, and when it's daytime, when that daytime level came, it broke the whole horror for me. I mean, the time of day can really determine if something is scary or not. But when it's just, I understand I didn't like it. I don't think that was very horrifying. Then the graphics are really good graphics. Not good like, oh my god, it looks real, but it looks good enough for a horror game. That's what they got. The graphics white. I'm like, what the fuck I'm talking like a baby for? They got white. They got that right. I believe the engine they use for the graphics is the same engine they use on Rage, the game called Rage. And the art, I love the artwork. I'm seeing if I can show you right now. The artwork is just very gruesome and very different. As you can see, a brain with barbed wire all around it, and it really makes it's pretty much the sense of the game, like you're trapped inside this guy's mind, what the story's all about. Show you this actually. Oh shit! Uh-oh, I actually clicked something, but that shows you the tower. That's actually the only tower you had to get to the whole time in the game. But yeah, the artwork is really great, and it's really different. Not that I've ever seen like that before in a horror game. I mean, moving on to the enemies. The enemies. It's what really defines a game is the enemies, especially in a horror game. The enemies. I'm sorry, I had to do that because the enemies is what really made this game not really all that scary. First, it starts off with them like trying to attack you and not. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's your typical fucking horror fucking monster or whatever. They're not zombies in this game, by the way. They're like demons, I would say. The enemies, man. Oh wow. They. This is where it comes in. This is where it totally took like inspiration from Resident Evil. What the main thing that killed Resident Evil was the series was the enemies. The enemies will throw shit at you on this game, just like Resident Evil 4, 5, or 6, whatever. They'll shoot you. Why do the enemies have guns? This is supposed to be a survival horror game where it's just. I understand that's probably the survival part of it, but you can. The fuck, man. The enemies have fucking axes they'll throw at you. They have fucking guns they'll shoot at you like that. Shoot at you. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then they got fucking machine guns. You know how in Resident Evil 6 where you play Mercenaries mode or whatever, if you guys ever did that, where the zombies will have bulletproof armor because they're like used to be cops or whatever, a SWAT team. They'll shoot you with a fucking machine like was it M4 and go like, I'm like, what? This is like Resident Evil 6. I'm like, oh yeah, and they got dynamite like Resident Evil 4. Cause you remember that Resident Evil 4 had dynamite, had guns, had throwing hatchets. I'm like, oh my god, this is really what kills the game of being scary because you're no longer fighting something that's horrifying. You're fighting something with intelligence and something that is evil. Something that's evil don't fight with weapons. It fights with its own body. Something that is just scary. Something that is just horrifying. Doesn't fight with guns. Something that uses guns is pretty much using it's intelligent. It's a fucking intelligent monster you're fighting. I mean, man, it's just that really broke the tension. I mean, and the AI in this game, they're like kind of dumb or whatever, bullshit. You know, you'll fucking hide. You'll hide and shit. You'll sneak up on him. He'll turn around like, yeah. Like, how the fuck did you hear me? There was I was sneaking. I thought this game had a fucking stealth system in it, but it's whatever, man. The enemies really kind of. I mean, wow. I mean, the bosses too. I'll get to that a bit later. But shit, man, them guns. Alright, next up is the antagonist, which is the bad guy, the villain of the game. Guy name is Ruben Vasquez. I forgot his last name. Pretty much, when he was a kid, pretty much, he was like happy and stuff, and he was interested in like doing like experiments or whatever on like animals' brains. First it was like pigs and stuff, and pretty much he was fascinated with it until one day in a barn, supposedly, when he was in a barn with his sister. He had a sister in this game. It was rumored that the locals burned down the barn, and then his sister burned in the fire. His sister burned in the fire, and that pretty much changed his entire life. He like just went. He suffered from a lot of like I forgot the name of that shit. He suffered from a lot of depression. He got angry, and pretty much he felt responsible for it, and pretty much. That's what happened, you know. And I forgot to mention earlier about the bosses. His sister died in fire, right? So this game gives you a whole bunch of different types of bosses. I don't know, it's like a total, 10 bosses, I think. The first boss you'll face is a chainsaw guy. Chainsaw guy pretty much represents one of Ruvik's emotions or memories, the chainsaw guy, like Resident 4, represented, or Resident 5, it represented to how angry he was, and he just want to unleash carnage and just fucking mayhem. Pretty much that's why at the beginning of the game, while that shit was going down, your first boss, mini boss in the game, is a chainsaw guy, and that pretty much represents his emotion of being angry. And then his second boss, which was a grudge-looking type bitch, that looked like the Grudge and shit. That's where everybody it really does look like the Grudge. Ruvik's sister, and pretty much she is immune to bullets. Pretty much, you can only hurt her with fire. The reason why you're going to hurt her with fire is because she burned in the fire. You know, it's kind of putting two and two together. I like how they linked that up. I like how they did that though. Yeah, and then there's another one. There's another boss. Um, there's a lot of different bosses that each different boss represents one of Ruvik's emotions. And I thought that was really cool until I actually read about it in here. But not all bosses are Ruvik's memory. Some bosses are just patience, and the enemies that you fight in the games, they're called hunted. They are people that he was experimenting on, and pretty much in that world in his head. So everybody he experimented with, every enemy you come across in that game is pretty much all in Ruvik's head. Every person is pretty much, and that's why they was getting a lot of headaches too. And the game was getting a lot, but also itchy, like a lot of headaches. It was getting a lot of headaches because pretty much the game, one of the game theme is based off of the brain, you know, and it pretty much let you know it's all in the head. That's why these guys is doing that shit. But pretty much, I like how they did that with the enemies. Each enemy is like represents one of Rufus' emotions or past, and the other random enemies are just like people he experiment on. So like they come back from there. It's pretty cool. Okay, next up is equipment. Now you got guns in this game, right? Yeah. You start off with the regular revolver, hold about 6 rounds. It can hold up to a maximum of 50. I maxed that out. It is very helpful. I recommend it because you're most likely going to be using the revolver probably most of the time, I like to say. The revolver, then there's the shotgun, which is quite weak at first. You can upgrade it. And then there's the agony bow, which is pretty much like a crossbow that shoots electric rounds, freeze rounds, regular rounds, which is just, harpoon rounds, and fire rounds, which only includes in DLC if you pre-ordered the game. And what else? And flash rounds. So pretty much like RE4, I'm telling you, it's a lot like it, man. I mean, he did make it, so yeah, and there's a Magnum. And when you beat the game, since I beat it, you unlock a burst handgun, which is burst handgun. You unlock a burst handgun. You unlock a assault rifle, and you unlock a rocket launcher. I forgot to mention about one of the enemies. One of the fucking enemies at the end of the game had a fucking rocket launcher. It was a chainsaw guy. He had a rocket launcher. Like, oh my god, yo, that kills this whole tension of horror. I mean, that's not scary. A fucking enemy with a rocket launcher. If I want that, I'll play Resident Evil 5 or some shit, Mercenaries. But yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of crazy how the guy who made this game said a lot of games do like lots of action. They do a lot of action in their horror games to really scare the raves and take away the horror. You put that in your game too, bro. So what are you talking about? Okay, moving on to length. I beat this game in exactly 22 hours. That is a very long time. Each chapter is probably about an hour and 30 minutes, maybe 2. If you're trying to go around collect more inventory, collect bullets and ammunition and stuff and health. Oh. Crap! Yeah, I was aware. I accidentally skipped one, but game is 22 hours. Around 15 hours, I should say. Around 15 hours is probably average, but I beat in 22 hours, and that's worth money right there. And now coming up is an upgrade system / stats. There is an upgrade system in this game to where you can upgrade your fire rate of your weapon, your damage of your weapon, your capacity of your ammo, your sway of the weapon, meaning that how much it sways. That is another thing that really killed this game is the upgrade system. Now I'll see if they had it where you can upgrade your stamina and your health and how many bullets you hold. Okay, that's fair, but how much damage you do and how fast a weapon shoots, that really takes away, because then you're like a badass. You're not necessarily I wouldn't say defenses, but not. That's not really horror, you guys. That's not horror to where you make your weapon more powerful, where you can die and kill something in one hit. That takes away the tension of being scared of having a weak weapon, like how normally it was in horror games. Because it wasn't like that in Resident Evil 1. Upgrade your weapons, which I don't know of. But that's really made this game. So, and also to upgrade weapons, you collect green goo, which are like bottles of green goo, and you can upgrade your shit. That killed the game. Alright, sound. The sound is really important in horror. This game has some pretty good sound, I have to say. I remember Resident Evil 4, they use a lot of cat sounds for their enemies. They go, wow! Stuff. Yeah, the sound's pretty good. The soundtrack of the game is okay. It's okay. It's just right. It's okay. Alright, number 10, which is my last one. Is it scary and is it worth the money? I have to say no. It's not scary. At least. It's not really scary for me. I mean, if you're the one, if you can easily get scared on games, you're gonna get scared. Now, I'll admit, it got me a few times. I was like, oh shit! I mean, it got me a few times, but that was a jump scare. Jump scare doesn't exactly mean scared, just caught off guard, like tension. But me, personally, something that is actually scary in a horror game is scared to go around the corner. By you not wanting to progress around the corner by being afraid of what's around that motherfucker, that is true horror. By you just being jump scared, that's not necessarily scary. That's the new scare tag, jump scare. But it's not really scary. I mean, is it worth the money though? $60 when it came out, it's probably like $40 right now. But if it is still $60, yes, it is worth $60. It's worth whatever. It is worth the money. But if it's worth the money if you're looking to buy this game because you're really scared. I mean, you're scared. You really want a horror game? I say no. I give the horror aspects a 7 out of 10, and since the game is really long and really enjoyable, pretty decent story, I give the actual full game a 8 out of 10. Pretty good game. I think one thing the director did good with this game was what he did good was about it. He did good on terms of survival. He did not do really too well in terms of horror. He did good in the survival aspect. Great. That came back great. He didn't do too well on survival. I mean the horror. This game was supposed to be the rebirth of horror. I think it's actually still asleep. And I'm actually going to do a video about that later. But yeah, you guys, that was my review. And if you want to pick this up, go ahead. It's actually worth the money. And that was my first review. And I'll see y'all next one. My next review is probably going to be GTA 5 full game, including heist. See you guys. Peace out.